side, gets a block down the sideline, end zone, touchdown!
Colorado upsets 13th-ranked Penn State.
Center left foot shot off the post, taken on the line, goal for the Buffaloes.
Blitz coming, Spade in trouble, the ball's loose, scooped up by Colorado, and a big man running all the way in.
Foul. Locked and one to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Shea Fields.
The Buffaloes have not won 4 games in a row since 2002. They have been 8-2 overall in the season, 6-1 in conference play since 2001. But they are now after a 49-24 victory over Arizona here in Tucson. Hi, welcome to the Stampede. I'm Mark Johnson along with Gary Barnett. Well, the Buffs got one. It wasn't easy, but they got one here tonight.
No, and Mark, winning 4 in a row, trust me, been there. In fact, I had that 4 in a row.
That's right. You had 5 in a row.
5 in a row. That's hard to do. You know, it's really hard to do. And so this team and these coaches have accomplished so much. And, just getting here and understanding what they've gone through and the hills they've had to climb. And maybe they're not at the top of the highest hill yet, but man, they are out of a hole, and it's so bright. And I'm so happy for these guys.
Well, Gary, you look at this victory, and there are things you can pick apart in it. But on this Saturday, when 2, 3, 4, and 8 went down, it goes to show you how delicate these things are and how volatile college football can be. So even though it might not have been a thing of beauty, it's a win when a lot of teams are losing in a tough Saturday.
Clemson loses to Pitt.
That's right. Yeah.
Michigan loses to Iowa. So, I mean, let's take a win over Arizona and be happy with the doggone thing, and a convincing win.
That's right.
So, and let's let the coaches do the picking apart, and let's just applaud these guys. That's the way I feel about it.
Well, good stuff, no doubt about it. But as we look at this, Colorado did get gashed in this ballgame. They have been very good against the run, and Arizona comes out here, runs for over 250 yards in the ground against Colorado. That's something certainly they got to shore up before these last 2 ballgames.
It is, and sometimes you don't get your A game. It doesn't get on the bus with you, and the circumstances in a stadium that wasn't even half full, in a stadium playing a team that's lost 6, you don't necessarily always get your best game against that. And these are young kids. This isn't like a veteran experienced group of men, and so this sort of stuff does happen. And you don't want to excuse it away, but you do want to understand it.
We've been talking special teams here the last few weeks. There have been some issues out there. I thought there was a kick that went out of bounds by Chris Graham late in the ballgame, but overall, you had Davis Price back out there. He was making PATs in this ball game. Kickoffs were generally pretty good. Coverage was good. Returns. That area's been shored up here as of late.
Well, this is a game where no one can pick apart anything in the special teams. They did a really good job. Who knows whether their pressures caused them to miss 3 field goals, but let's take credit for that. What do you think?
Why not?
Let's don't blame them. Let's take credit for it. So let's make it a complete wipe, yes, for special teams. But no, they were a positive in this game, and that hasn't always been true. But that's a big win on the road. You got to give him credit.
Yeah, don't take it away from him. Philip Lindsay has become a guy the last couple of weeks. He had 11 receptions a week ago. He had 119 yards rushing in this ball game with the victory of Arizona. 3 touchdowns, by the way, as well. He's become just a workhorse for this team offensively.
Well, yeah, he didn't come out of the game. And we heard him in the interview. He was most critical of himself. He missed a couple blocks, which we had talked about. He missed the blitz pickup. But if they all have that attitude, if they all can't wait to get in and fix whatever it is they weren't really good at doing, then the next game and the next 2 games become really huge opportunities for these guys that they control their own destiny now. And
they really
but
do.
they need that humbleness and that hunger to get it done.
We talk about the home stretch of this one now. Washington State next week. There's rumors that game day may show up. We'll see if that happens in Boulder. And then they've got Utah, of course, after that. A couple of ranked teams coming in. But the good news is both the Cougars and the Utes have got to come through Folsom.
They've got to come there. And we're as good good as either one of those teams, and they're as good as we are. So whoever brings their game, whoever's hungry enough, and whoever's humble enough, and will be humble enough to prepare and give both these teams total respect, that's the team's going to win.
Yep, good stuff for the Colorado Buffaloes. It has been a long time. In fact, 2001. This guy, of course, was coaching that squad when they won the Big 12 championship. Since the Buffs have been 8-2 overall, 6-1 in conference play, but they did it with a 49-24 win over the Arizona Wildcats here in Tucson. And now it's Washington State. As we stand here tonight, we still don't have a game time on that one. Rumors it might be a late game on Saturday, but nonetheless, big ball game next Saturday at Folsom Field as the Buffs and the Cougars will go at it. And there's a lot on the line now in the Pac-12 Conference. For Gary Barnett, I'm Mark Johnson. Stay with us here at the Stampede. Offensive lineman Shane Callahan is going to join us when we return.
My hat's off to Shane Callahan. I love all our kids a tremendous amount, but he's really special. You know, he transferred from Auburn, played on and off, hadn't played a lot on the offensive line this year, played on special teams, and went in there at left tackle, played awesome. And, he's never said boo, he's never complained, he's Colorado and through. That's what you need to do what we're doing. To make the march you got to make, you got to have guys step up that are unselfish and are ready to go when the number's called. And that was special to see that.
Back in the Buffalo Stampede, the big fellas with us. Colorado with a big win, 49-24. They knock off Arizona here in Tucson. Shane Callahan joining us. Well, what do you say about a game like this? It wasn't easy out there, undoubtedly, but it ends up being 49-24.
Yeah, playing in the Pac-12 is never an easy game, but, man, boy, it's fun to win like this. And, we kind of struggled a little in the third quarter, but we took over and finished the game like the team we are.
I know you guys are big fellas up front. Always happy when you run the football. You run the ball well, just not as well as you have at different times. Talk about a little bit what they were doing out there that made it difficult to run the football.
Oh, they're quick guys. They're just giving us a lot of movements, and it was just difficult to get the ball going with them moving so much around and just giving us so many different looks.
I wonder with the team that runs the read option quite a bit, does that make the fact that they know what you guys are trying to do make it tough sometimes to block up front? Because they run it about as well as anybody in the country. I mean, Rich Rodriguez is the guy to kind of develop that.
It helps a lot when you're seeing it in practice every day, definitely.
Yeah,
so, that's probably huge for them to see that. And so it definitely probably was an advantage to them.
How about when you got a guy like Philip Lindsay? We talk all the time about how hard he runs. I mean, and we thought, Gary and I were talking during our radio broadcast that he was hitting the hole about as hard as he ever has. That's got to make your job easy. You got appreciation for what he's doing behind you when you're blocking for him, right?
Oh, God. When you see Philip run, you're just excited to see him go past you because he's going to make one or two guys miss, and it's just fun to watch him run. You see him walk by, and he's a little guy, but then you see him out on the field. He's an enforcer, and he'll take a guy 3 times his size, and he'll enforce him.
What kind of leader is he? I mean, for us in the media, we talk to him all the time, but he's talking nonstop, and he's like a motivational speaker, for goodness sakes, when you run into Philip Lindsay. What's he like with you guys in the locker room?
He's so positive, and he's always lifting everyone up, no matter what the mood is. It's just positive with Philip, and he's such a great leader and a great friend and a great brother, and he's just always there for us.
How about Cephalufel? By the way, he had 3 touchdown passes in this ball game. Right now, 59 in his career. He's one behind Cody Hawkins for the all-time record of 60 in Colorado history. Tell us about him as a leader a little bit. What he's like in the huddle.
Just like Cepha. I mean, he just really takes it over, and he's really like a big calming force in that huddle, which really helps us just focus on doing our job and not worrying about the outside.
Yeah. A game like this, the defense had a couple of struggles in this ball game against Arizona, so they gave up some plays. That's uncharacteristic for them. You've been able to count on them game in and game out. Responsibility then for the offense maybe to pick things up in a game like this?
I mean, really just every game we're just trying to get a full Colorado football game, and that's been our goal, is just to play a full game, and that's always going to be our goal.
Shane, you guys are sitting at 8-2. I mean, this is some rarefied air. We haven't seen that here in Colorado for a long time. In fact, you got to go back to when Coach Barnett was with the Buffaloes. Haven't won 4 games in a row since 2002 when Gary was still there. This is a spot we haven't been in a long time. What's going on in that locker room?
Just a lot of guys that are sick of losing. I mean, we're just very focusing on just taking that task at hand. And you probably hear it week in, week out, but it's really just focusing on that task we're at hand. And we just really been focusing on that, and it's been helping us, and we've been winning a lot, and it's fun.
I'd have to think now, as you look down the stretch of this schedule, you got 2 regular season games left. This was the final road game of the year. You got a top 25 team in Washington State coming in next week. Week after that, it's a top 25 team in Utah. Tough games, but here's the good news. They got to come through Boulder.
Yeah, home field advantage is always huge, and I mean, the season has flown by, and it's crazy that there's only 2 games left. But that's our main goal now. We're gonna celebrate a little bit tonight, but really focus on just Washington State, and I think that's all we have our eye on.
I figure there's probably 4 games left: 2 regular season, Pac-12 championship bowl game.
Oh yeah, of course. But we got to focus on just that one.
No, that's right. You guys got dinged up a little bit. Cole went down to this one. Hawkins got dinged up, so it kind of stretched you guys a little bit thin up front there.
Yeah, but I mean, as an offensive line, we have a lot of guys with a lot of experience, and that was huge. And you could see that in this game. We had guys step up, and we didn't miss a beat. It was just like we had all the starters in. That's the great thing about this team is we have people to step in and just play at any time. You guys have got to be versatile up front, don't you? Because you've got to be able to move around, right? Yeah. And we in practice that's huge. We spin around and play all sorts of positions. So.
Well, keep up the good work. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
All right, Shane Callahan. He and the Buffaloes get a nice 49-24 victory. 8-2 in the season, 6-1 in Pac-12 conference play with that game with Washington State coming up next Saturday. Still don't have a game time with that. We'll find out later on this week. When we come back here to Buffalo Stampede, we're talking game number 2 for the men's basketball team after this.
Hi, this is BG Brooks with CUBuffs.com. Are you buckled in? CU football has taken us on a surprising, gratifying journey over the past 2.5 months, but the wild ride is just ahead. Your Buffs are ranked number 12 nationally and are 8-2 overall and leading the Pac-12 South Division with a 6-1 record. Certifiably heady times in Boulder, and the swoon might only be beginning. CU's games with Washington State on Saturday and Utah a week from Saturday brings ranked opponents to Folsom Field to face a ranked Buffs team. The Cougars currently are number 20, the Utes are number 11, 1 spot ahead of the Buffs. If you're among those craving a relevant November at Folsom Field to close out the season, you've moved beyond your wildest dreams. And we haven't even mentioned the very real possibility of the Buffs playing in December. That would be on December 2nd in the Pac-12 championship game. Regardless of whether that happens, the Buffs will be in a bowl game for the first time since 2007. In seasons past, and I'm talking about the late 80s and well into the 90s, it was never a question of whether CU would reach the postseason. It was which bowl, how grand, and what date the Buffs would be in. I'm not saying that trend is about to be launched once more, but the 2016 season and the way Mike McIntyre has gone about constructing his program gives that idea some very real traction. McIntyre has been calling this team special, and it is. So is this season. It's been what every CU fan, every CU player has been pointing toward for a decade. Only now it is tangible, finally culminating in what coaches like to call a November to remember. The good news is what the Buffs have done to this point. The better news is what they can do over the next 2 Saturdays. If you haven't been to Folsom Field this season, you've got 2 final chances to get there and be a part of something very, very special.
He's a man-to-man. Hockey's elite bounces in a corner. Collier pulls up for 3. Right between the eyes from downtown. Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm Mark Johnson, joined by junior guard Dominic Collier out of Denver East High School for the Colorado Buffaloes. Men's basketball team 2-0. Lopsided win last week as they open up the season against Sacramento State. And then on Monday night, an 11-point victory in the opening game of the Legends Classic as they took care of, in that ball game, Seattle University. Good start to the season.
Oh, yeah, it's a really good start. Looking forward to Thursday.
Yeah, take us back to that game on Friday night. Buffalo's blowout victory, shot the ball exceptionally well, and as you find out in this game, when you shoot well, everything looks good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course. We were really anxious to get out there on the court Friday, so I think that our energy was really high, and then I think that's why we played really, really well.
Buffaloes, by the way, 13-21 from downtown in that ball game. Things didn't go nearly as smoothly from outside the arc in the second ball game. That contest against Seattle, ball wasn't falling. You didn't get a chance to play a whole lot. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but a little bit tougher ball game against Seattle.
Oh, yeah. We've been preparing for zone because we knew they were going to play a whole 40 minutes of zone, so we were just getting used to that, and we just can't hit shots, so we had to rely on our defensive rebound, and that's what the coaches put emphasis on. Yeah,
Buffalo started out 1 of 15 from outside the arc, but they still get the victory there. Take us back to camp a little bit. Very talented team. What we've learned about this squad through two games so far is it's a very deep team. What are your impressions of the Buffaloes in 2016?
Oh yeah, I think we're really deep at the guard position, and then we really have some good post guys who we could get the ball down to, and then we're just really versatile team, and then we're just a lot of guys are interchangeable, so that really helps us because we know everybody's strengths and weaknesses, so and just to have all the depth, and we could just go out there and play our hardest and then know that the next guy in is going to come in and contribute just as well.
Dom, how has it been? I mean, Josh Scott was such a cornerstone from a leadership standpoint on this team, both on and off the court. How's it been kind of filling that void, in particular off the court, when you got a guy that, has kind of been the father figure, if you will, for this program? A little bit maybe the case of all of you guys having to pick up a little bit of leadership?
Oh, yeah, of course. All of us had to pick up the leadership role because Josh, he did a really good job of being a leader while he was here, just on and off the court. So I think everyone just picking up where he left off from.
All right, let's talk about your situation right now. That opening game, shot the ball exceptionally well. We saw you very early in the game on Monday night against Seattle. Can't see it on the camera. You're wearing a boot right now. What's going on with the foot?
Oh, just hurt my foot like 3 weeks ago. And in practice, landing on someone's foot, and then I think I re-injured it Friday night after the game.
All right, so how you feeling? What's the prognosis?
Fractured 2 bones in my foot, so out for 4 to 6 weeks. I'm gonna cheer on my teammates, and then I know they're going to be ready to play for this Thursday and when we go to Brooklyn next week.
You know what this means? You got to start coaching now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you can whisper in Tad's ear a couple of times during the game, huh?
Oh, yeah, I'll try. A run or somebody like that.
Hey, this schedule you talk about, Buffaloes are going to be in Brooklyn, New York next week. They got a Monday game against Notre Dame, and then win or lose, depending upon the combinations, either Northwestern or Texas. Now, you're not going to be out there playing, but this is a big challenge for Colorado here early in the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. We all know Notre Dame's a good team. They're a tournament team last year, and then Northwestern and Texas. We know they're good teams by the previous year. So it's just going to be a really good test for us early in the year.
And the way the schedule unfolds, I mean, not only those ball games, you got Xavier coming up, you got BYU, a road trip there. By the time you get around to Pac-12 conference play, you guys are going to know what you're all about. You're battle tested.
Oh yeah, for sure. With top 25 teams that we're going to be playing in the upcoming weeks, and it's just going to test us for the Pac-12, and I think that's good for us.
Okay, now I want you to drink milk. Okay, and I know your mom will have you drinking milk so that foot gets healed up. All right.
All right, got you.
All right, that's Junior Dom Collier for the Buffaloes. He'll be out for a few weeks, but we'll get him back in the court here before you know it. But the Buffs off to a good start, 2-0 so far, as they get this young season underway. Up next, we're talking to volleyball. Jesse Mahoney, the head coach for the CU volleyball team, joins us next. Busy weekend for the Buffs, and you can follow all of it by checking out our media schedule at cubuffs.com. Men's basketball tips off Thursday night at home versus Louisiana Monroe as part of the Legends Classic. That game is live on Pac-12 Mountain at 7 p.m. Volleyball hosts Washington on Friday night at 8 p.m. That match will be broadcast on the Pac-12 Network. On Saturday, your 12th-rated Buffs football team takes on number 20 Washington State at 1:30. That huge conference game is live on Fox and the Colorado Football Network. Also on Saturday, women's basketball hosts the Kentucky Wildcats at 7 p.m. You can catch that game live streamed through cubuffs.com. Volleyball takes on Washington State on Sunday at noon. That match will be live streamed through cubuffs.com. And finally on Monday, men's basketball travels to Brooklyn, New York to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish as part of the Legends Classic. That game is on ESPN and the Colorado Basketball Network starting at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. As always, you can check out cubuffs.com for all upcoming games and where you can watch them.
Abu again, this time slams it to the floor to end it.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede, getting towards the end of the fall, of course, which means the fall sports are starting to wrap up. Joining us, the volleyball coach here at the University of Colorado, Jesse Mahoney. 5th volleyball coach in CU history in your first season. We haven't had you here on the Stampede yet.
I know.
We had a chance to introduce you to everybody. So I know it's the season hasn't ended the way you wanted to, but your first year back at the University of Colorado, how's that been for you?
It's been special. I think it's been a lot of fun for me personally. I think our team has had some some nice highs. Unfortunately, we've gone through a couple lows here the last several weeks, but we're still battling. We got a couple weeks left, and it's a fun group, and we're working hard to win some games.
Let's got to bring people up to date, kind of your history. You played club volleyball for CU back in the day. They didn't have the varsity sport, of course. What was that like? You're playing club volleyball at CU.
It was a lot of fun. I was here for most of the 90s. I got 2 degrees here. Really enjoyed my time in Boulder. Got a great education, and volleyball was a great piece of that. Some of my best friends were from that experience, it was just club, but it was a pretty high level of volleyball. We enjoyed it.
Now, what I'd imagine having that kind of soft spot in your heart for CU, was it easy to come back here?
Yeah, it was really a no-brainer for a lot of reasons. My wife and I both went here, grew up here. It's got a special place in our hearts, and then the volleyball program, the athletic department in general, is such a special place to be. So, yeah, it's like I said, no-brainer.
You guys had a great start to the season, obviously non-conference. Pac-12 was a great challenge, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, you look at our league, and I think we're in 8th or 9th place. We're probably the 30th best team in the country. And it's every night is a battle. I think we've played well. We've been on the short end of a couple 5-setters here and there, and we're like I said, we're still battling.
Jesse, what do you think about what this athletic department has become, what Rick George has kind of laid the foundation? Are the building blocks here to kind of help you build a program?
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned everything that Rick's done in a short amount of time. I think everybody in the athletic department really shares the vision that Rick has, and it's one of the things that made this such an exciting decision for me. I think there's a lot of excitement throughout the athletic department and in our program, as we continue to move forward.
How about from a youth standpoint, for people who haven't seen your team play this season, give us a couple of highlights of some of the young talent that the Buffaloes have.
We've got talent up and down the roster. I think some of our freshmen that are getting some time here and there. Justine Spann has really done a nice job the last couple weeks. Lauren Durrell is redshirting, but I think she's going to be a really nice player when we get to see her next year a little bit. We have some juniors that are doing a really nice job for us. Gabby Simpson, of course, who's probably one of our most elite players, Anna Pfefferly, who's been starting all year. So, the future is bright for us. We're excited about the group that we have now. We're excited about the recruits that we have coming in the next several years, and we're looking to build.
All right. Well, continued success and good luck the last couple of weeks of the season.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Volleyball coach Jesse Mahoney. He and the Buffs have their senior weekend here. In fact, it's a huge weekend for Colorado athletics. Of course, the football team has got a matchup of division leaders at Folsom Field. It's a 1:30 kickoff between the Buffs and number 20 Washington State. We'll hit there at 11:30 on the Colorado Football Network with all the coverage. And we'll talk to you next time here in the Buffalo Stampede.